Good morning. Welcome to this loving community. Come in, bringing all of who you are. We gather in worship, our hearts alive with hope that here we will be truly seen. Turn down the volume on your fears and loosen the armor around your heart. May we root ourselves in the values of this faith: acceptance, encouragement, compassion, transcendence, justice, and transformation. We strive not for perfection, but for authenticity and connection. We come here to learn about being in relationship together, to listen, to forgive, to be vulnerable, to create trust and have compassion for one another. We are gathered here to walk each other home. Be here in this moment. Let go. Breathe.
Good morning. I'm Stasia Kranz. I use she, her pronouns. I'm your Faith Formation and Youth Ministry Coordinator. Very long title. First, we want to welcome our folks who join us virtually by waving to them in the corner. Thank you so much. To my left and your right, you can find a prayer card and light a candle in silent prayer. You can sign up for bells, which bring us into worship, bringing flowers, and to be a chalice lighter. I want to say a special welcome to our newcomers who are here today. If you are new, we would love to stay in touch. If you are not new and you know what blue cards are, you can wave them up so people know what they are. That's our way of getting in touch with you and getting to know you. We have a few or a lot of announcements today. The first is we have a guest pianist today with us today, Jenny Tsai. Thank you so much and welcome, Jenny. Today, after church, you are invited to join our ministerial intern, Ian Evans, at the Unity Farm Sanctuary for a blessing of the animals. Unity Farm provides a safe and loving lifelong home for farmed animals and is just a 3-minute drive away. Turn right out of our parking lot and left before you hit the railroad tracks and follow that road all the way to the end. Ian will be at Unity Farm at 12:30, offering blessings for many of the animals they shelter there, and hopes you'll join him. This Wednesday, November 12th at 7:15 at Alliance Hall, which is downstairs, is our Mythbusters Forum, real talk about LGBTQ plus identities, sponsored by the UUAC Rainbow Sanctuary team. This presentation and panel discussion offers a safe and non-judgmental space to bring your discussions for members of our queer community about gender in sports, sex versus gender, gender presentation versus identity, parenting a transgender child, lived experience, and more. Snacks and nursery care/child care will be available. Another session will be after church on Sunday, November 16th. Please choose the session that best fits your schedule. We have an incredible group of panelists who are willing to share their stories and answer your questions. My announcement is for our teenagers in the congregation, which is that our SYG overnight is next Friday, November 14th. You have to let me know that you're coming, and please know that permission slips are a must. And our last announcement is to join Reverend Nathan and some of our lovely lay leaders for the book discussion group starting Tuesday, November 18th at 7 p.m. to discuss the book Love at the Center, which reminds us what matters most in these difficult times. And there's more info in your weekly email. And as always, it's time for our Sunday Spotlight. Ta-da! Ta-da! Every week we will have what we are calling a Sunday Spotlight, highlighting a simple, easy way that you can share your love in the world in alignment with one of our 6 Unitarian Universalist shared values. And this week's Sunday Spotlight highlights our shared value of generosity. And we are asking and inviting you to develop a department of kindness. November 13th is World Kindness Day. So some things you can do to help promote global kindness is to share your compassion and empathy, perform an act of kindness you normally wouldn't do, and help someone you might overlook. With that being said, please welcome each other to worship today by greeting each other.
I know, I was wondering, so I was like, but you were on it, you didn't even know. From now on, you'll just do the ta-da.
Let's walk together for a while and ask where we begin. We'd build a world where love can grow and hope can enter in. To be the hands of healing and to plant the seeds of peace, singing welcome, welcome to this place. You're invited to come and know its grace. All are welcome, this love we have to share, 'cause all of us are welcome here. All are welcome in this place.
Good morning. My name is Ian Evans. I'm your ministerial intern here at UUAC. Our opening words this morning come from Reinhold Niebuhr. Nothing that is worth doing can be achieved in our lifetime. Nothing which is true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Our first hymn this morning is an African American spiritual, Hush. Spirituals were written and first sung during the era of slavery in the United States, and as we've talked about here before, often had coded messages intended to help the singers find their way to freedom. But there were always many levels of meaning to these songs. And this one, like many, contains a deep call for freedom from suffering from people in a specific context that we must acknowledge and hold while we sing. The song has had many verses and versions throughout its time, but the prevailing message is a call to survival and thrive by moving, resisting, and transforming, expressing both the sorrow of now and the joy to come. Please join me now in rising or body or in spirit for Hush.
That was awesome. Good morning, everybody. As we remain standing, I'd love to invite Caleb up to light our chalice. We say together our affirmation. Both the chalice and our covenant are life and expression and foundation here in this community. And let us say together, love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you. Please be seated. We'd love to invite any young folks up front with Stasia for our Wonderbox time.
The young and the young at heart, please. Anyone is welcome at the front for the Wonderbox. Marina has a question or a comment before the Wonderbox starts. Yes, what is it? Oh, Marina says she likes my tinsel. I have tinsel in my hair. Thank you very much. Okay, get comfy. So before we open the Wonderbox, I want us to think about what is our role in the world, what do we owe to each other, and what is a kid's role in the world? That's directed towards the littler ones, even though we have a lot of young at heart up here. What can kids do to make a difference? Because there are some things that kids can't do, like vote, right? So what can kids do? All right, so I have a few things in the Wonderbox. I'm going to see some kiddos who haven't opened the Wonderbox before. Lua, would you like to try? Thank you so much. So can you grab something that's on the top? Yeah, you can open it up. One of those first. No, okay, let's do that one last. Okay. Oh, what is it?
A spoon.
It's a spoon. So I want us to think about how a lot of jobs or roles have very specific tools. So what kind of job would use a spoon?
A baker.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was going for. Okay, thank you so much. You can take it with you and sit down. Thank you so much. Can I have someone else open the Wonderbox? Yes, what is your name? Eli, can you come open the Wonderbox? Can you grab the thing that's blue? That one's last. That's a surprise. Thank you. I know that's the most exciting one. I should have planned for that. Okay, it's a comb. So who might use a comb in their job?
Put it in your hair.
Yeah, like a barber or a hairstylist puts it in your hair. Okay, and we have one more. Thank you so much, Eli. You can sit with it. Okay, who else? Yes. And what is your name?
Eliza.
Hi, Eliza. Okay, we have one. Can you choose this one? Okay, who might use a hammer?
A builder.
A builder, exactly. Thank you so much. I might take the hammer, thank you. Okay, we have Ivy, would you like to open the Wonderbox? What is the last thing? Okay, can you show us? Oh, wow. Who knows what this is? It's the jet pig. Okay, what does the jet pig represent to us, if you're familiar? Rosie?
Justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity.
Wow, that was incredible. And Marina, do you know what is at the center? When pigs fly. There's something I could do with that, but I can't think about it right now. So at the center of our values, who knows what's at the center? Love. Okay, so I would like to think of our values as tools that guide us in the world. They help us with making decisions and standing up for others. So I want you to imagine when you're out at school or out with your family, you have your UU jetpack on, just like our jet pig. So how can we express love for each other? How do we express love for each other when we're out in the world, not just at church? Does anyone have an idea? What about helping each other? It's by helping people. Marina, how do we help people?
I had a different one. Friendship.
Okay, friendship. Yes, friendship helps people. Thank you so much. What's another way we help others? Anyone have one? Eli.
Why pigs cry?
Yeah, well, maybe if a pig cried, we could help it. Yes, that's true. Nathan, do you have an idea? Helping people out in the world.
We bring pasta for a place to turn.
Exactly. We donate for food insecurity, which is super important right now. Okay, so I like to think when love is at the center of my life, I use my voice to disrupt when I see something happening that's wrong. And I think that's a really important thing that kids can do is use their voices. We call that upstanding. That's what Reverend Nathan says a lot. Okay, with that being said, I'll take the Wonder Box items back. Oh, thank you so much, Ivy. That was the hardest one to give back. Thank you. Oh, beautiful. And with that, we'll sing our children out.
Friends, let's take a breath together. Let us find ourselves where we are. Let's be together in our bodies and center ourselves after whatever kind of week that you have had. And give yourself over to just some moments here for meditation and for prayers and for stillness. We begin by singing together our prayer hymn for this month of November. It is Blessed Spirit of My Life. This is a new one, but the words are beautiful. Look up on the screens. You can sing with us or simply just listen. Here at the end of our week together every Sunday, we hold space and light candles for all those prayers for loved ones and for the world and the gratitudes that so often go unspoken. We do this because prayer is simply a word that means to give attention. And our attention is so diffuse and so distracted most of the time. It's good to center these things. We go with our prayers for loved ones. This past last Sunday night actually, one of our longtime beloved, John Hunter Brody, passed away. I was privileged to know John for my entire time of my ministry. And she lost her husband David many, many years ago and then remarried. But I was again privileged to marry her and Larry. And she moved up to Maine before COVID. I didn't get to see her very often. Joan was known for many things. She was feisty, would be a word. Feisty. And she loved soccer, and she'd come in her bright pink soccer uniform and sing in the choir. She reminded us of what our obligations and responsibilities are to one another and to those who are most vulnerable. Ian, she would have loved your sermon title, What is Required of Me? As Cab Rabinowitz said in the Facebook post this week about her, she did the things that we all wanted to do. So Joan, we remember you. We also hold up this morning in our loved ones, all of our veterans whose service we acknowledge this coming Tuesday, for all of those who just so often don't get the attention and who serve with quiet dignity. I invite us in this time, as Carly lights our candle, to say the names of either veterans in our life or beloveds that we are thinking of this morning. Warren. Invite us to look out our windows, our clear windows here on my right and your left, or back in the back. On this November day, our leaves are falling. We can see the architecture of the trees. The world calls to us with so many needs and people. Our prayers for the world this morning, Don Gage asked for all those who are suffering. Someone also says for all those federal employees who are working without pay. We have some in our midst. We have my own son. And for all those who are struggling this morning and this week with food, we light a candle. And friends, our gratitudes. There is a young person in our congregation, you might have noticed, who puts notes everywhere, surreptitiously around the building. This one in the pulpit this morning. You are in community. You are in a community that appreciates all that you do. Right? Right? They're everywhere. October was Clergy Appreciation Month, for what it's worth. I'm sure you all just you remembered, but then you forgot. It's okay. Love to us and love for all the things that we're grateful for. Carly, please light a candle. These are everywhere, so I encourage you to look around for them. They're terrific and they're wonderful. I know who does them, but we're going to keep it. Let us pray together. Dear God of our many names, our spirit of life and living, we are a distracted bunch. Our screens constantly invite us to scroll away the time. It's so good to have places like this, UAC on the hill, that draw us in and tell us just to be still, to hold up weird stuffed animals during service, to keep us steady in our values, and call us to be the people that we're trying to be. Help us to follow the lead of people like Joan, who do the things and practice the things that we all say to others that we are and that we want to do. Let's give ourselves several moments here for stillness.
Our reading this morning comes from the abolitionist Derica Purnell. I've been asked a lot about what gives me hope. I've been asking a different question. What is required of me? This question guides me on my best days and my worst days. It is a question that keeps me accountable to community, to our liberation struggle, so that regardless of whether I feel hope under a genocide, illegal abductions, personal tragedy, and more, I know that through it all, I have a role and relationships that inform my role. Some days are hard. Some days I move slow. Some days it doesn't feel like we'll win. But that doesn't stop what is required of me.
As we know, everybody, we collect every week an offering, then we give it all away in support of an organization that lives out our values of hope, love, service, justice, and peace. We're able to do that because you're so generous, so thank you for that. This week's offering is going to go to the Greater Boston Food Bank. I was reading up about the organization. It is the largest hunger relief organization in entirely around New England, and it gives 107 million pounds of food to people every year who struggle to have enough to eat. So just yesterday, this whole thing about SNAP benefits, so the Governor Healy in Massachusetts distributed funds in the state of Massachusetts just yesterday for everybody who lives here. But this does not, of course, mean in New Hampshire, in Vermont, in Maine, in Rhode Island, and Connecticut. And we all know the cost of food is increasing, right? And it's right around the time of the holidays. I'm sure you watch TV, you see all the advertisements for, all the Thanksgiving dinners and what have you. And this stuff is really expensive. I was in Market Basket, and we go to Market Basket and Aldi, Karen and I do. And the cereal that I always get, 'cause I'm always about cereal, it's like $2 more than it was a year ago. So everything is just more and more expensive. And it's terrific that we drop off food. We can deliver pasta in particular to a place to turn. But what these organizations can do when they have cash in hand is they have more negotiating power and purchase power when you can use money. So I invite us to be as generous as we can for this terrific organization and what is a very hard time of life for folks who are on the margins and on the edge. So thank you so much for your generosity in advance. QR codes are right there, and if you have cash, you can give it to Peter or Mark as they come up along our aisles.
I dream of a world where everyone is welcome. I dream of a place we all can call home. I dream of a world where justice is flowing, with hope and peace growing, where love's work is done. Make it so, make it so. We long for the day, make it so. We dream of a world where peace reigns among us and love's work is done. May we make it so. May love fill our hearts to reach out and welcome and help us to see our neighbor once more. Let's dream of a world where my hand joins your hand, working together. We must make it so. Make it so, make it so. We long for the day, make it so.
Let us begin in a place where not many you stories begin. In the Hebrew Bible, the book of Micah. It's only a few pages long if you want to check it out yourself. In it, the prophet Micah uses those pages to rail against unjust and corrupt leaders. He cries out that God will punish the rich and the powerful, those who, for example, might throw elaborate parties while people starve. He warns that God will punish that nation which was meant to be a vision of God's justice and instead has been corrupted. And it resonates. A little history. At the time, there were two kingdoms, that of Israel to the north and Judea to the south. And at the time of the story of Micah, that northern kingdom of Israel had just been conquered by the Assyrians. In fact, Micah says that God was so angry at that northern kingdom that God allowed the Assyrians to conquer it and flatten it. And Micah warns that the same thing will happen to Judea if they do not change their ways and fast. And the prophet Micah is very clear about what he sees as the failing that led to this destruction that now also threatens Judea. He decries, quote, rulers of the house of Jacob and chiefs of the house of Israel who abhor justice and pervert all equity, who build Zion with blood and Jerusalem with wrong. Its rulers give judgment for a bribe. Its priests teach for a price. Its prophets give oracles for money. Now, as a religious leader, I would like to get paid, but I do take his point. I think the thing that I was thinking about when reading Micah this week is that it feels shockingly modern. God is so angry that the leaders ask, what can they do to avoid God's punishments? Would God be appeased with prayers, perhaps, or gifts? How about thousands of rams with 10,000 rivers of oil? After all, the rich leaders can afford it. No, says Micah. The leaders even offer up their firstborn, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul. No, says Micah. You cannot buy or bargain your way out of this one. Micah 6:8, he has told you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. And I know that not all of us in this room are super comfortable using God language, so let us just say, what is required of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly? As I've been reflecting on Micah, I've also been reflecting on hope. Certainly, I know that many of us are feeling a little bit of hope this week after the elections on Tuesday. And a question that I hear a lot, that I've heard a lot over the past year: what gives you hope? What gives you hope? And I'll be honest, I've never been quite sure how to answer this. Partly because, for me, for every clear thing that I can pin some hope on, I'm pretty good at seeing three things that I can't. I'm not great at a cocktail party. When I wrote about, back when I was a journalist and I wrote about climate change, people would casually ask me about my job. And all I could say was, are you sure? It'll be a bummer. I also get stuck, I think, on what we mean when we say hope. That's one of those big words that can mean a lot of things. There are so many kinds of hope. Hope things will get better. Hope they don't get worse. Hope it goes back to how it was. Hope for others, hope for myself, hope for the world. Hope can be big and broad, or it can be incredibly specific. Hope the tests come back okay. Hope my kid figures things out. But what I hear when I hear the question of what gives me hope is I hear that big, broad hope. Not specific, but some question of hope that all this is going to be okay. Do you feel that? And I don't know how to answer that. Because on some days, on many days, I don't know that all this is going to be okay. At least not anytime soon. There is this quote from Antonio Gramsci, which is actually a misquote, but it's better than the original, so. It is, "The old world is dying. The new world struggles to be born. Now is the time of monsters." Now is the time of monsters. Doesn't that just hit home? How do you have hope in a time of monsters? I've struggled with hopelessness for a lot of my adult life, off and on. Maybe you have too. And the trouble with hopelessness is that it is infinitely rationalizable. I can always find something to be hopeless about, especially lately. And all those things that I can find to not be hopeful about can be both true and not super helpful. And kind of like someone telling me to smile when I'm in a bad mood, nothing quite fuels my hopelessness like getting asked what I find hope in. And then I feel that acedia that Nathan talked about a few weeks ago, that spiritual molasses creeping in. And the trouble with this hopelessness, this molasses, is that what it wants to do is to stay put, to stay inside, to scroll, and get mad at people on the internet, and let my attention wander from this to that. But not in any way that actually addresses the problems. And when it wins, I feel like I lose. My values lose out, and I can feel it guiding my actions more than my actual values do. Has that ever happened to you? When was the last time for you that this spiritual molasses won? It might have been last night or this morning. And all this makes me think about Micah. Because I think about this prophet who sees injustice and corruption all around him, who just saw an entire kingdom get wiped off the map because of its corruption and inequity and injustice, and he's crying out, seeing the writing on the wall. Guys, you better get your act together, start doing justice, loving kindness, and walking humbly, or you're next. But I never get the sense from the book of Micah that Micah has a lot of hope. In fact, he actually starts prophesying about the fate of the people, of his people, after the inevitable downfall, that they will be taken into foreign lands. Micah is a little hopeless, but Micah knows what's required of him: to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly. Micah shows me, how to keep moving towards that better world, even when we don't have a lot of hope. Maybe hope is the wrong focus. Maybe what I need to ask, what we need to ask, is what is required. And Micah is not alone. History is full of people who did not necessarily have hope in seeing the fruits of their labor, but they knew what was required of them. Our history is full of them, and our nation was built by them. In a recent interview, the author Ta-Nehisi Coates reflected on his own heritage as a black man and the wisdom he draws from his enslaved ancestors, who did the work and made contributions towards a world in which they would be free, a world that many of them would never see. He says, quote, "Much of what I do is built on what other people did before me. And then after that, I leave the struggle where I leave it. And hopefully it's in a better place. Oftentimes it's not. That's the history, in fact. And then my progeny pick it up and keep going. I am descended from people who, in their lifetime, fought with all of their might for the destruction of chattel slavery in this country, and they never saw it. And in my personal belief system, they died in defeat and in darkness. And so I guess the privilege I draw out of this, the honor I draw out of this, is not that things will necessarily be better in my lifetime, but that I will make the contribution that I am supposed to make. I will make the contribution that I am supposed to make. There is, I think, a kind of hope there, one that I'm trying to learn from. I do not share Coates' heritage, but I can look at my own heritage and learn. Learn about the torches that they carried and picked up, what they fought for, and what I can carry and keep going. That is a kind of hope, and one that feels more grounded in reality, more grounded in the history of this country, more grounded in the reality of our interconnectedness across space and across time. We struggle against forces bigger and more powerful than any individual. And so the work of to build a more liberative world is the work of generations. And it is built by the work of generations. Countless names have been lost, but those whose work we can carry on their work nonetheless, and hope that there will be others after me, no matter what the world looks like, who will carry it too. Even Micah had that kind of hope, hope for a world that he would never see. A hope that generations after he is gone, after the coming destruction of Judea, his people would be liberated and allowed to return to their homeland. And that kind of hope, I think, is faith. To believe in something bigger than yourself, to put your hope in it, that's faith. We do not have to hope that we will see the fruits of our labor. We need only ask, what is required of me? What contribution am I supposed to make? Is standing outside of that ICE facility in Framingham on Tuesday mornings going to solve the problems of an authoritarian mass arrests? Probably not. But that's the wrong question. Is showing up in solidarity part of what is required of us at this moment? And that's one example. If you can't make it to Framingham on Tuesday mornings, I get it. I can't either. I'm trying to find other ways that I am called, other things that are required of me in this moment. So if not that, then what is required of us? To our neighbors, to our families, to our communities, and to ourselves. Do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly. And I think for me, I have found this clarifying, even liberating. On days that I feel darkest and slowest, when I feel that molasses creeping into my bones, and I think, what's the point? It all feels so hopeless. I now have another voice. So what? So what if it is hopeless? That's not the question. What is required of you? Do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly. What does that mean for us? And what does that mean for you? No matter how small you feel your action may be, and no matter how much hope you have that it will make the difference, know that it is part of something much bigger than you and that you are not carrying it all. Have faith that someone else will pick it up and take it further. What is required of us? Not what do we hope for, but what is required of us today and again tomorrow and again and again. What will we leave behind for others to pick up after? Micah knew. He knew that against all hope, hope against hope, that there was only one way forward. What is required of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly? That is how we move in faith, my friends. That is how we will walk hand in hand through this time of monsters. Please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, number 1028, Fire of Commitment. Please join me in saying our call to ministry. We go forth into the world in peace, act with works of love, to affirm each person's dignity and to cherish the living earth. Here we are, here we hope and have faith, though we do not know what the future holds. May we go forward knowing what is required of us. May it be so, and amen. Please join us for coffee hour downstairs, which is accessible via the stairs and the elevator.